Welcome back now. If you're just joining us, you're still on to the press, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. And we're now into the segment where we go into the analysis of some of the headlines we have read to you. And joining us this very moment is Ambassador Timothy Nwachukwu, the president of the Global Goals Advocate. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
It's great to have you on the show.
It's great to have
Thank you
you
very
on the
much.
show. Again, quite a lot has been happening in the political scene, from the scramble for the speakership of the leadership of the National Assembly generally, to a lot of other issues, to the loan request by the federal government and everything. But an issue that's very big in the minds and on the street of Nigeria right now is the leadership of the National Assembly, of the leadership of what will constitute the 10th National Assembly. And a whole lot of Nigerians have kept their fingers crossed to see how this will pan out. Now, looking at the statement from the aggrieved senators-elect last week, now, what would be the implication for APC in an event that things do not go as planned for the APC National Working Committee?
Yeah, what will definitely happen is that we're going to see a repeat of Saraki era. And but first, let me state as follows, that the legislature is an independent arm of the government. You know, we have the executive, we have three arms of government, we have the executive, we have the legislature and the judiciary. Even though they are independent, but they are interwoven, they are interdependent, they work together for the good and governance of the society. Now, at this point in time, for Nigerians are eagerly waiting for a transformative government that can provide answers to the needs and yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. We know the inflation rate, and we know some of the insecurities and some of the issues that has bedeviled our nation. So at this point in time, what Nigeria need is a solution. And I think that what the All Progressive Congress is trying to do is to have a legislative house that will be able to agree with the incoming president on every policy that they want to bring on board, every bill or initiative they want to bring on board, and so that there won't be rancor. The incoming executive wants an immediate response. For example, take for instance the issue of the loan. Imagine that if the incoming government is requesting for the loan, of course they must have earmarked what they want to achieve with it. So they want a situation whereby they will have a National Assembly that will be able to accede to their request without questioning them or budging the process. So, but the implication for the APC is that if this is not managed properly, we may have a repeat of Saraki era, where the opposition senators, those elected on the platform of the PDP, Labour Party, and other small political parties, including APGA, we'll see where they're going to come together to produce their own. And I'm seeing different arguments talking about non-interference of the executive, that even in the choice of ministers for the executive, the National Assemblies will not be privileged to nominate ministers for the executive. So they are demanding that they should be allowed to run their affairs by themselves. So if you look at it one way, a part of them are saying that we want an independent, a truly independent National Assembly that will be able to scrutinize the executive arm of the government, that will be able to carry out its oversight function properly. There will not be a rubber-stamped National Assembly that the presidency need 800 million naira loan. They will not want to scrutinize to know what exactly this loan being used for. This is a very serious matter. You remember that here in Abuja, this present government borrowed Chinese loan, and part of what the loan was earmarked for was that the loan will be used to put CCTV in the Federal Capital Territory. You know, as we speak now, I remember the last time the Federal Capital Territory, during the last budget defense, they were asked, the Minister of Finance was asked, how many CCTVs is in Abuja? How many is working? And they could not provide a concrete answer do it, and yet the budget was approved. So I think that what the National Assembly is trying to do this time around is to reinvigorate the confidence of Nigerians in the legislative arm of government, that it will not be just a rubber-stamped legislator. But for the APC, I know that they have the games, the cards to play, and I'm sure that they will not want anything that will want to slow down the governance once they take over. So that is why I know they will leave no stone unturned. The incoming president will leave no stone unturned to negotiate, to do whatever he can to ensure that they have a National Assembly that will work hand in hand with the incoming government.
All right, so I hear you say that they are trying to ensure that they have a legislative that would work hand in hand with government and governance and all, and then you talked about the rubber stamp and all. But then you have a lot of people who have accused this present legislature of being rubber stamped and all of that. But then they came out to say that they're not being, denied it, saying that they're not rubber stamped, and with all of that going on. So do you actually think that this legislature, if they have, because you have Nigerians saying that they don't have you in mind, they don't care about what it is Nigerians go through, it's just what they do in their caucus. So do you think that they have Nigerians in mind, to put that in mind, saying that we must get someone that will not, like you said, you talked about the Saraki and then the Dogara era and then all that they did. Do you think that with what we have presently, if they are going to go through that process of ensuring that we get someone who, when they ask for $800 million US, you're going to ask questions, what are you going to do with that? Or do we need it or not? Take it off. Do you think we are actually going to get to that stage again?
For us, the first question, if we must get to that point, the question is, who are the front runners of this elective post, of this position for the Senate presidency? Who are the front runners? You discover that the front runners are still the same people who were the Ojizokalo, and of course Senator Babio was formerly in the National Assembly before he was told, Honorable Minister, off your mic, and some of the people who are in this present Senate, this nice Senate, are still the people who are vying for.
That's the reason why I asked, because some of them have their hands in the cookie jar.
Exactly. So I don't want to preempt them, and I don't want to prejudice them. I want to give them the benefit of that, because every person, you have to judge each person according to his own distinct characteristics. So I wouldn't want to prejudice and say that the incoming legislators will be like this present legislators. But the bottom line is this: I want to believe that the incoming executive arm of government is pro-people. Yes, we've gone through their manifestos, and I want to believe that the executive bills that they want to introduce to the National Assembly will be something that will definitely want to lift Nigerians from poverty. So this time around, it will no longer be, because it will no longer be about the selfishness of the legislative arm of the government, because we will have a government that is pro-people. The government that will feel the pains of the people, they feel the pains of the masses.
Sorry, I have to cut in, sorry, I have to cut in. Why do we always have cases where, because now you have, I hate to use the word developed countries, but in other countries, you have people who they send an official message using their personal emails, and then they decide to leave their seat. They decide to just leave immediately. But then in Nigeria, you have someone who has been indicted for one fraud case or the other, but then they still have the gumjon to come and throw it right at our faces and then come back to say that they want to go for elected positions. An obvious
example is the past Auditor General of the Federation.
The 100 billion naira.
The 100 billion.
And then you even talked about the Honorable off your mic.
Yes. In Nigeria, we believe in following the law, that an accused is presumed to be innocent until the competent court of jurisdiction will prove otherwise. You see, I am not holding breath for any of them, but the very fact that this, of course, you will see in the news, it is called, even when the charges are, they have been alleged that they misappropriated, alleged that.
But the money was not found, so it means that at some point they stalled the.
I'm coming. It is still alleged, allegation, alleged. So it is left for the court and the prosecutor to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, and then after proving their case, the court will now take its place and then decide if this person is guilty or not. And until We have fair hearing. It's part of our constitutional process. Fair hearing, section 36. You have to give fair hearing to anybody who is accused. So we must give them the benefit of that until a competent court of competent jurisdiction convince them.
Okay, Ambassador Timothy, I would like to put you on the spot right now. Being a legal person, being a lawyer yourself, you just talked about the fact that in Nigeria we like to obey the law, and an accused person, someone is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty by the court of competent jurisdiction. And you just said that someone misappropriated funds. Allegedly misappropriated funds. You know, if we take it directly, it is the money that was set aside to buy yam was used to buy rice. Yes, that is to say, an offense has been committed.
You have to go and prove.
No, you have to go and prove that an offense has been committed. If it has been proven that an offense has been committed, and successively people keep doing this over and over and over again, don't you think it's high time we started thinking about doing something to that section of the Constitution that gives room for this?
Well, it's not about doing something with the Constitution. The legal process is not something you can just, it's not like, okay, the Federal High Courts, State High Court, Federal High Court precisely, where some of these cases are prosecuted, it's not like the magistrate courts where they can do summary trial. Summary trial is that you bring an accused person right now, and then the magistrate sits, and then, you know, can even try the person for the day, and then at the end of the day, you send the person to prison. No, when you go to Federal High Court, there are processes. So, my brother, you cannot take the issue of it is a fundamental right, the right of fair hearing. Now, put it this way: what and if it is an allegation? You know, we live in Nigeria. What and if there are people who wanted to bribe? Let me use this as an example. Imagine that someone wants to bribe you in the line of your duty, and you said no, and the person can go to the press and allege that you have misappropriated money. And then you know that bad news is good news in journalism. So definitely the public will say that, this man is a thief, he has misappropriated money. That is why the court of law is there. When you say that this person has misappropriated money, the onus lies on you to approach the court and say, just as you rightly spotted that so amounts of money was earmarked for so project, but it was not done. You have to prove it to the court. The person you are accusing, you only come and tell the court that no, this is not true. So until the court is able to pronounce and say that this person is guilty.
So are you saying that there is a possibility that money was not missing?
Right now, in the eyes of the law, nothing is missing until it is proven otherwise.
All right, let's leave that story and move straight to other story. And on the Guardian newspaper, because you talked about the loans, Guardian newspaper looks quite colorful. Says 17 years after Paris Club relief, external debt rises to $41.8 billion US, and then they actually gave a breakdown of what each Nigerian states owe, and then each Nigerian says debt per Nigerian jumped from 17,800 naira under ex-president Obasanjo to 368,421 under President Muhammad Buhari. So they started from $2.1 billion US from Obasanjo to $7.3 billion US to Jonathan and Umar Yar'Adua, and $14.8 billion US for President Muhammad Buhari. And on the flip side, you have this current administration seeking to borrow $800 million US to be shared among over 10 million Nigerians, vulnerable Nigerians, to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy. With all of this, we still have $41.8 billion US around somewhere in our debt profile. Let's start with that. What are your thoughts?
Let me start this way. There is what is called United Nations Global Goals, Sustainable Global Goals. Goal 1
talks about ending poverty.
Talks about ending poverty. And I want to believe that the purpose of this government is to, this government have said it over and over, that it intends to uplift 100 million Nigerians.
Even the 133 million were plunged into poverty.
Yes.
Multi-dimensional poverty.
Yes. The government have said we want to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Now, the issue of borrowing loan is not a challenge. Yes, we know that the loans have jumped. But it's not about what are you doing with the loan. And that is why the oversight function of the National Assembly comes in. What are you doing with the loans? I just gave you a practical example that the federal government of Nigeria borrowed loan to put CCTV in Abuja. And the Minister for Finance was asked how many of this CCTV was installed, how many is working. She said, no, the FCTA have it is within the jurisdiction of the FCTA to respond to this. The FCTA today have not responded to this.
Right,
so I'm coming. Borrowing money for capital projects is a welcome development, because those capital projects are the things that on the long run will be able to create avenue whereby poverty will be reduced drastically in the system. But borrowing money for expenditure for overheads, that is where we have the problem.
All right, but then I want to cut in here now. The President Muhammadu Buhari administration, he has suspended the fuel subsidy removal, and according to him, he said he has left that decision to the incoming administration to do whatever they may with as regards removing the fuel subsidy or letting it be. But then less than 21 days, less than how many days to him leaving the office, seeking a loan to cushion the effects of a subsidy removal of subsidy that has been suspended.
Yeah, what Nigerians don't understand is it's not about the president saying we're suspending subsidy removal. No, we have a PIA Act, Petroleum Industry Act.
Okay.
What did the PIA Act say? Upon implementation, it gave a time frame when subsidy will be removed.
But if we are to go by the PIA Act,
June.
if we are to go by the PIA Act, we have flawed everything that the PIA Act stated, because according to the PIA Act, the fuel subsidy should have taken effect on the 1st of January 2023.
All right, let's quickly take this call before you go ahead. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from
Collins from Otukwe. It's great to hear from you again today. Please go ahead and make yourself audible.
Please, you see, like the way I'm seeing things happening now, if you look at this present government, the whole debt that the nation is indebted to, which, to my understanding, we are not able to pay, maybe until God arises. Okay. Now look at it. After all this borrowing for good 8 years, there is no road, there is no good education, there is not working out, and we are still borrowing. The dollars is as high as there is no regime that dollar has rise up to this extent. There are so many families that could not even eat a square meal a day in this same government. What are we up to? There is something I want us to remember, which Dino Melai happens to see sometimes, is it in the 8th Assembly or something of that nature. You see, Nigeria is sitting on a time bomb which might explode any time, any day, and we are all going to visit. Because nobody knows when it will happen before you say you take your flight and fly to the UK, fly to London, fly to France or whatsoever.
All right.
Nothing is working out. The worst of it is the security structure has collapsed. Everything has collapsed. No refinery. He gave us, during his manifesto, I earlier said last time before the election, I said normally I don't believe in manifesto, but I happens I'm an APC, core APC person. Let me tell you my mind. But I happen to believe in one word that will be made is a Labour Party. I believe that to my spirit I accept it. Something must be done. No?
Thank you so much, Collins from Otukwe. It's great to hear from you. I pray that Nigeria does not explode on
let
us.
me react to the. It would be very, very unfair to say that to say that in the last 8 years that nothing has worked, no. We're not being fair to this government. We're not being realistic to this government. I know that this present government, he said that there is no road, and we know that this government have done more roads, more than previous governments. Over 9,000 kilometers of federal roads has been built. The massive infrastructure that you can point at across the six geopolitical zones.
What about the unemployment rate? What about security?
Thank you very much.
What about education?
You talk about unemployment rate. There are factors. There are factors that contribute to unemployment
now,
rate.
Let's look at the unemployment rate in the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration compared to other administration. There has been an over 200% increase in the price of commodities under the watch of President Muhammadu Buhari.
You see, why we blame President Muhammadu Buhari for this or that? We must give him credit for some things he have done. Talking about unemployment and poverty, or whatever you can call it, one of the challenges we've had over the years is power, electricity. Generating electricity, transmission of electricity, distribution of electricity, because it was in the exclusive legislative list. Even if President Muhammadu Buhari have not done anything, one of the things his government have succeeded to do in doing is to transfer power, railway, and correctional centers, other items that are on the exclusive legislative list to concurrent list. So what he has achieved now will begin to have an effect of it later. I tell you the truth, that if states, just as the constitution now empowers states to generate electricity, if every single state in Nigeria generates their own electricity, transmit and distribute their own electricity in their various states, do you know what will happen? Industries will begin to come up.
All right.
Before you blame this government, have you forgotten that a former president of this country spent $16 billion, not 16 billion, $16 billion in the power sector? And when he was asked, where is the money? He said, go to my book, under my watch. That is where you will find it.
But then this same administration, what about the Siemens deal?
The Siemens deal, was the contract, was it under this present administration? What transpired, was it under this present administration? The good thing is that power has been transferred from the exclusive legislative list to the
and then even in this administration,
now, individuals, private sectors, the state governments, they have no, and I'm happy that the Southwest geopolitical zone, the Southwest states, the governors have come together to say that we're going to draw up an economic plan for our region.
All right. Just recall that this same administration, we saw that the former power minister that was laid off by President Muhammadu Buhari still has 22 billion naira in fraud case in his neck. Let's take this call before we end this show. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Oh, my name is Prince Christopher Obuna. I am calling from Abuja.
Hello, Prince Christopher. Go ahead.
Prince
you have
Christopher.
1 minute to go.
Yeah. When I am reading today's paper, I saw 42-point-something billion dollars. That our
41.8
debts have risen. And I began to say, are we in a banana republic? Where is this money coming from? How does the high grow up to this very extent? And I began to check what's happening for the past 8 years now under President Muhammadu Buhari. And everything he has been doing is all about borrowing. Now, remaining some days to go, he wants to borrow $800 million again. Now, everything about APC altogether is all about borrowing.
All right.
Borrowing to do what?
All right, thank
There's
you.
no single road in Nigeria that is working. Nothing is working. The economy is on shambles.
Thank you, Mr. Ogbonna. We have to let you go. Our time is fast spent.
To marshalize Nigeria. Please, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Is Nigeria undersell?
Okay. So he will answer your question for
Okay,
you.
please, I want to say something. You know, what people don't even understand is this.
Okay, I think we've already taken the next call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, beautiful morning to you, Honorable Mr. Francis
Good morning.
Good morning to you
Anthony, Ambassador, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for
Great to
giving
hear
us
from
this
you, sir.
ample opportunity. You are on to SMG calling from Lagos.
SMG calling from Lagos today. All right, go ahead,
Yeah, from
please.
Lagos. Yeah,
1 minute.
Thank you very
1
much.
minute. Go ahead.
Ambassador Anthony, thank you very much for your analysis. Let me quickly respond to one or two issues. Really, I concur with Sarah. Reason why is because of the previous experience we have in the previous government. You remember there is issue of 470 million CCTV issue in Abuja and Lagos. That was during President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. I don't know whether if you in Abuja there you've counted CCTV or we in Lagos there you've counted CCTV initiated by the federal government. And I could remember it has been published in the newspaper on the 24th of October 2019. There is a proof at the National Assembly regarding the issue of the 450 million CCTV camera fraud. So you see, that's by the way. Then let me get back to at least same government of His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. There is issue of 9.2 billion naira, dollar, if I'm not mistaken, for the issue of the clean stuff. You remember? I don't know whether if you remember about that issue. Big money, 9.2 billion naira for clean stuff to provide in Nigeria. Where is the money? Where is the clean stuff? You understand my point? So these are the kind of experience that one we ask. Where are we heading to? Is it because every government that want to go with just initiate somebody that they will go with Jumbo or Jumbo in something? So please, I always say this. Let us have good policy makers. We don't have any other country than Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much.
Building a nation is a collective responsibility. So I hope and pray the 10th National Assembly will do the needful so that the policy makers will have the country in their mind, not their pocket in their mind. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
SMG
from Lagos, thank you for your contribution. All right, we need to.
There is something I want.
We need to go. 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, I want to say something about this 800 million naira loans. So what people don't understand is this:
$800 million.
$800 million loan. It's not as if this government borrows that money that this government would distribute that money in less than few weeks. I think that what the government is trying to do is to make funds available for the incoming government who will implement it. So please, I want Nigerians to give the incoming government a chance. Believe in this nation, and I tell you that there is hope for Nigeria.
There is hope for Nigeria. We're at a very good place to land. Thank you so much, Ambassador Timothy. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, viewers, we'll go on a quick break, but we'll take our social media as we bring forth our second guest to end this show. Keep calling. We'll definitely pick your call after this time out. Join us again.
Named after one of the retired IGPs, MD Yusuf, is the redevelopment of the Senior Management Officer's Accommodation, also known as the Deputy Inspector General of Police Quarters in Abuja. With the focus of remodeling the working and living environment of police officers, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, reiterates commitment to the redevelopment of some barracks for police officers across Nigeria. The 24th Indigenous Inspector General of Police says, a good working environment is necessary for the DIGs, hence a public-private partnership.
We believe we deserve good working environment and also a place to retire after working. And that is why we are trying to remodel our police stations, divisions, headquarters, and also our places of abode.
Now put you the Basham now better news with this thing. Now put you the Basham now better news with this thing.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. In case you missed out on the first segment of the show, so we're going straight to our second segment of the show as we have Ambassador Francis Chukwuyekwe, who is Global Goals Advocate. It is great to have you on the show today, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, so viewers, our phone lines are still open. You can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. So now we decided to go straight to our social media trends, what trended last weekend, and then we saw a video, very disturbing video about Seun Kuti, who happens to be the son of the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who is the who died few decades ago. So, but then the issue here is, with all that happened, that him slapping a policeman, but then he said that he was trying to kill his family, but then he came back to apologize, saying that and then the IGP has called that he should be arrested and investigated, ordered for his arrest and investigation. And then you have other musicians coming out to say that yes, we know that it is a crime, but then what if it happened the other way around, having police brutality and all that? But let's start with getting your thoughts on that issue. What are your thoughts? Before you go ahead, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Okay, please go ahead.
With what I saw out there, generally, if two persons are having conflict, it's good to hear from the both sides. But I totally discredit what Kuti did to assault a police officer with gun. Be it that it may. I didn't buy to the idea of him assaulting him, whichever or high-profile person that he appeared to be. I call on the well-meaning Nigerian, the police, as the case may be, to call him in order and know why she assault a police officer, because it's never a welcome and it didn't speak good to the citizenry.
Yeah, but then looking at the fact that Seun Kuti is someone who has been very, very vocal about social freedom. Seun Kuti has been someone who has been very, very vocal about
human rights abuses.
Abuses. I saw a couple of his other videos where he was even bragging about the fact that he has assaulted a lot of police officers. That Nigerians are just lucky that this one is coming, is making it to the social media. Now you've given credit quite alright to the IGP for ordering his arrest in the first place, and I believe this should serve as a deterrent to other people who do not show enough respect to the men and officers of the law. But then, what are your expectations from the Nigerian police force as regards this very issue? Because Seun Kuti is a household name, and no matter how the Nigerian police decides to handle this very situation, is going to go a long way in molding how Nigerians see the Nigerian police force.
Well, I have to commend the police officer for being a well-behaved officer, and that's giving me a good credit for not retaliating. Because if the case may be, or he was the situation go the other way around, I don't think it will be a good story or a good ending for a police officer with gun to fight, because naturally they are to protect life and property. So I condemn Kuti, being the defendant, to assault an officer,
police officer,
and it didn't speak good of him, being a role model and an advocate. Because I always watch him on social media, being more like a freedom fighter, advocating for freedom. And someone of his profile, the world are watching, and everybody, both those overseas, both those in Nigeria, are all looking out to see what Nigerian police or the decision they will take on that effect.
All right, because I'm going to ask you two questions, and I'd like you to take them on one break, because Francis talked about, he said if that had been a military man he happened to, that this would not be the story. He would have just returned back and to tell his father the tale. And I understand what I don't know if let's not just go there. So in that regard, do you actually agree with that? And that's on one side. And then secondly, having Femi Falana, the senior advocate of Nigeria, to represent him in this case. And you already agreed that it is all shades of wrong, but then you still have a lawyer who is going to a senior advocate of Nigeria, for that matter, who would definitely go to represent him in this case. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, in the realm of provocation, like I earlier stated, that if two people are having conflict, got to hear from both sides. From the video, I heard him saying, are you mad? Do you want to take my life? So nobody knew what transpired between the police officer and Kuti himself. So I believe when the law or his lawyer, when they come together to checkmate who is wrong and who is offender, I believe the law will take its course.
So, do you agree that if he was a military man, it would have been a different case entirely?
It can be a military man and will be well behaved. It's not about being a military man or being a police. It depends on the person.
But can you have the mind to slap a military man like that? Can anybody have the mind to slap a military man? Armed or unarmed? Like they say that don't touch a lion in still.
That's why I say it depends on the person. I can slap a military man, and the military man will be well behaved. He may not react, depending on himself. It's just like what transpired that day. The policeman is a well behaved man, from what I saw there.
All right.
So
let's quickly take this call before we go ahead. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Collins from Otuku. Go ahead.
Yeah. Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, now, because he has harassed a policeman, he's at the headlines of every newspaper now. Since last year, how many policemen have shot an innocent man? What is the outcome? How many of them are being jailed? How many of them have been dismissed? If you should ask very well, what brought this issue? I don't know the person, that the policeman might be wrong. Because most of them with that uniform, they feel that they are the top of the world. I used to drive. A military man composes themselves more than a police. Let's just be frank. If you see any soldier man or Navy or Air Force maltreating any person on the road, you must have spoken a sacrilegious word that even you yourself know that you say something wrong or you have done something wrong. But the policeman, especially when they are drunk, they can do anything just because of 100 naira. They have been hearing innocent drivers, innocent citizens have been killed. What is the outcome? Now it has become a newspaper headline because just an ordinary citizen has harassed a policeman. It's just like I have been saying. There are so many things that are going wrong. Most of these policemen, they are not even qualified. Some cannot even write their name. You see me? More qualified persons are there. Because you don't have the long leg, you can't be taken as a policeman because you don't have somebody to sponsor you.
All right.
Then pass the information to the first analyst in the studio. Let them come away from Benue down to the east. There is no route. No route. The government has done nothing from Middle Belt here down to the east. No route.
All right. I'm sure he heard you. Thank you so much, Colin from Otuko. Thank you for your contribution.
All right, now let's move on to other stories now. And as President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is gradually winding down, and he will be leaving office very soon. The parents of Leah Shaibu, I'm sure we all know whom Leah Shaibu is, one of the kidnapped victims during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Up till now, the girl has not been released, and during President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign, one of his core promises was to ensure the release of every kidnapped girl child in Chibok. I'm talking about the Chibok girls. Now the parents of Leah Shaibu, they've come out to say that Buhari's failure to rescue Leah Shaibu is disappointing. Can we really use the freedom of Leah Shaibu as a metric to measure President Muhammadu Buhari's success or failure
especially in terms of security?
Well, security is everybody's business. We have a security crisis all over the world. Buhari's administration, to my best of knowledge, performed woefully in security. I'm from the southeast, Anambra precisely. And I believe those that live there or those that travel to Anambra or southeast can assure and testify that we are on a security threat. And Nigeria in general, like everybody always say, there is nowhere safe, even in your hometown. So I generalize it is a global crisis of insecurity.
But then, can we say, because can we use Leah Shaibu, can we use the freedom of these Chibok girls as a metric to say that because President Muhammadu Buhari was not able to do this, he has failed? Because he was not able to do this, he has failed. Can we pin his success or failure on just this one incident? And you just made mention of the fact that security is everyone's business, but there are certain aspects of security that the citizens cannot handle.
Yes.
The citizens, you and I, cannot fight terrorism. It is the government that fights terrorism.
And the aspect of terrorism and banditry, is government duties, the government to provide natural. We have, like myself, I made it in a way that we have two types of security: natural security and artificial. Natural security is the one that I say that is everybody's business. That artificial is one that government on its own will make sure that the citizens are being protected. That is why we have police. Their main purpose is to protect life and property. But the reverse is the case, that we are under security threat over the years in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Ambassador Francis Chukwuyi, Global Goals Advocate. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
Thank you.